They say death knocks. Mine didn't knock. It called every night at 3:03 a.m. The first time it rang, I thought it was a dream. That sharp, metallic ring from the landline in my living room, the one I hadn't used in years. Dust covered the receiver. I didn't even remember the last time I plugged it in. I sat up in bed, dazed. The apartment was still, the street outside silent. No caller ID, no number, just a voice, muffled, garbled, like it was underwater. A local woman found unconscious after a gas leak in her apartment. I froze, phone to my ear. No background noise, no breathing, just static. I hung up, told myself it was a weird fluke, maybe an old broadcast looped through a wire. But the next morning, I turned on the news. Same story, same words, word for word. That was the first night. The second night, the phone rang again. Same time, 3:03 a.m. Multiple injured in a bus accident on 7th Avenue. Emergency crews on site. I checked the news in the morning. Confirmed. Exactly as the voice said. By the third night, I knew something was wrong. The recording said a house fire would erupt across town. The next day, 5 were dead. I stopped sleeping. I unplugged the phone, even though I knew it wouldn't matter. I sat in the living room, just waiting. Night 4. Nothing. Then, on the 5th night, it rang. Even unplugged. I stared at the phone for what felt like an hour. Picked it up. Local man found dead in his apartment. Then the line crackled. And it whispered, "Elliot." My name. I dropped the phone. It thudded against the hardwood floor, and I backed away like it had burned me. The next day, I duct taped the phone shut. Unplugged every wire. Slept with the lights on. Locked every window. Every door. That night, it rang again. I didn't answer. But I heard the voice anyway. It seeped through the walls. Death remembers time. You can't unplug what's already dialed. I fell to the floor, shaking. I didn't move until sunrise. Later that day, Jamie, my neighbor from one floor up, came knocking. He's a paramedic, level-headed, always calm. But that morning, he looked spooked. Said he couldn't sleep. Said he felt something was off last night. I told him everything. To my surprise, he didn't laugh. He listened. Then said, "We're tracing this." That night, Jamie came down with an EMF reader. Said he bought it after some creepy incident at a burned-out hospital he once responded to. We tested the jack at 3 a.m. Nothing. 3:01. Nothing. 3:02. Red lights. Needle spike. The reader screamed just before the phone rang. On the floor, still duct-taped, still unplugged. We didn't answer. The next day, Jamie installed a recorder. We played the tape back in the morning. 2 souls bound by the clock. Death waits in the mirror. We looked toward the mirror on the wall. It was fogged, but the air was ice cold. That night, we stayed up. Everything unplugged. All power stripped. Just candlelight and our gear. 3:01 a.m. The TV flickered. It wasn't even plugged in. 3:02. The air thickened. I could feel pressure behind my eyes, in my chest. Then it rang. Jamie answered this time. He didn't speak. Just handed me the phone, slowly. On the other end was Jamie. We both have to die. At 3:03 a.m. And then screaming. Not from the phone. From inside the walls. Something pounded through the pipes. A slow, calculated rhythm. Like Morse code. We followed the sound. Down the hallway, into the kitchen, then the bathroom. It stopped at the mirror. We looked in. And there we were. In the reflection. Lying motionless on the living room couch. Dead. We spun around. No one there. But something cold brushed past my shoulder. We left the apartment that night. Checked into a motel 20 minutes out of town. No phone in the room. No electronics. We felt safer. Until 3:03 a.m. The motel landline rang. We didn't answer. Next morning, Jamie was gone from every photo on my phone. Messages from him? Gone. Even his name was missing from our building's tenant list. His own mother called, asking if I'd seen him. She said she hadn't heard from Jamie in weeks. He was sitting right next to me. I started to think we were already dead, fading from this world. Time no longer moving forward, but holding us in its teeth. In desperation, we tracked down an old woman. A blog post led us to her. Said she'd heard the same calls, in the 1970s. We found her in a nursing home. She was frail, eyes sunken, but alert. When we told her our story, she didn't blink. She just said, "Time doesn't call everyone, only those who owe it," and handed us a cassette recorder. Record the voice. Burn the tape. That's how you break the thread. That night, we waited. 3:03 a.m. The phone rang. We pressed record. The voice was ours. It didn't sound human. Twisted, echoed, bent by time. "You escaped once, but the debt doubles. We'll see you beneath the floor." We burned the tape in a rusted trash bin out back. The next night, silence. No call. For the first time in weeks, we slept. We laughed again. We thought it was over. Then, this morning, Jamie wasn't in his room. I found him in the hallway. Eyes wide, face pale, whispering, "It's coming back." I ran to my apartment. The landline was glowing red. Not ringing, just glowing. On the table sat the cassette recorder. Unburned. I never brought it back. I pressed play. "You both have to die." At 3:03 a.m. We knew. There was no escaping this. So we sat, back to back, in the living room. Doors locked. Curtains drawn. Clocks covered. 3:01 a.m. The lights dimmed. 3:02. Static filled the room like smoke. The mirrors fogged over. 3:03. No ring. We looked at each other. Still breathing. Still alive. Until the TV flickered on by itself. 2 men found dead in their apartment. Time of death, 3:03 a.m. I reached for the remote, but my hand passed through it. Jamie turned toward me. His reflection blinked. He didn't. We were echoes. Ghosts. Still sitting here. Still waiting. Bound to the moment we died. And now, the phone rings again. Waiting for someone else to answer. "You hear that? It's for you. You're next."